Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 15th of June. Today we have a lot of very interesting updates. We can call this day as the game changer day, because the Russians took control over few vital towns and they're pushing. We can say that there are around three potential cauldrons in Ukraine. So let's discuss this situation. And first, we're going to start with Slaviansk bridgehead, with this area. This Slaviansk, we are going to discuss the areas that colored in blue. We are going to discuss town Довгенькая, Богородичная, Татьяновка, Пришип, Сидорова, Маяки, Христище, Микольская, Адамовка, Краснополье, and Dolina. So, as you can see, the West sources map is not updated. There are totally different situation in Ukraine in comparison with this map. So first of all, let's update this area, this bridgehead, according to the situation we have right now on the current front line. This is the current situation on the front line. We know that the Russians established control over Довгенька, Богородичная, Tatianovka, and Priship, starting from a few weeks ago, and so on. The previous week, we discussed some offensive operations towards Sidorova, so that's why I colored this town in black, because there is some clashes. I'm not sure about if the Russians have any possibility or they're trying to establish control over this town. I don't know. So that's why let's color this town in black, but I think that maybe we should color this town in yellow, because I think that Ukrainians keep control over this town and they have very nice position there. Important update about Dolina and Krasnopolye. Yesterday in the evening we got update that the Russians army number 20 pushed that were moving from Izum bridgehead towards Slaviansk, took control over Dolina, and now we can say that there are heavy clashes in Krasnopolye. So as you can see, the Ukrainians are pushing back towards Slaviansk, and the situation for them is not very good. Another important update about bridgehead near Tatianovka and Priship. As far as I know, somewhere between all these areas, somewhere here, there are still a lot of Ukrainians, and they're keeping their position on this bridgehead between Bogorodichny, Tatianovka, Priship, and Sidorova. There are also some even artillery positions, and using this position, they still have possibility to attack Tatianovka and Priship from their side. So this is the reason why I told you that Sidorova maybe is under entire Ukrainian control, but for now this is the picture. So we can mark this territory with some colors, with some arrows. The Russians were moving using the road M03 towards Dolina. They established control yesterday. Now the Russians have very nice position Bogorodichna, so they're well prepared, well fortified, and the same situation in Tatianovka and Priship. But the thing is that this bridgehead between all these areas is on the hill, so that's why it's not so easy to attack this bridgehead and to push Ukrainians from this area, from Tatianovka and Priship. But I think that because of the fact that the Russians took control over Dolina, I'm not sure that this is a very nice idea to keep some forces on this bridgehead. So I think that by the end of this week, we're going to see Ukrainians on the line Adamovka, Hristische, Sherwood Forest, as Russian call this area, Sidorova, and all bridgehead on the north, from Krasnopolye to Priship, will be under the Russians. So this is the current situation, and we can calculate the distance between this area and Slaviansk, just 12 kilometers. So the situation for Ukrainians is very critical, and we're gonna see what are they planning to do. The only one important update that I want to mention, that the Russians army number 20 moved towards Dolina, established control, now moved towards Slaviansk, but few Russian telegram channels published that meanwhile the Ukrainians attacked Zavody and Spivakovka, and some sources announced that the Ukrainians managed to establish control over this town. I can't tell you if it's true, because if you remember, yesterday we discussed situation near DONETSK, that some Ukrainian sources announced that the Ukrainians took control over Donetsk, but later that evening they confirmed that it was a fake news. So maybe the same situation about Zavody and Spivakivka. So for now, I'm not planning to update this area, because if this information was true, we know that the West Sources map updates their map according to the Ukrainian success very fast. So we'll follow this situation as well. So for now, we can say that there are very heavy clashes around Slavyansk, and I'm not sure about the real goals by the end of this week, but we will follow this situation. Now let's move and discuss Severodonetsk. This is our Lysychansk-Severodonetsk agglomeration. I marked with the blue color the areas. It's like the main differences between the Russian sources map, the Russians Telegram channels information, military specialist information, and the West sources map. You see that according to the West sources map, these two blue clouds is under the Ukrainians. But if we take a look at the Russian source map, we're going to see this, that all these territories is under the Russian control. Today I got very interesting update, very interesting map about Severodonetsk battle. You see that we discussed in my previous video about the fact that some forces in the plant Azot that located in Severodonetsk was encircled, and we didn't understand how did that happen. You see, I see like the red color is the territory under the Russians, the blue color, gray color is the territory under the Ukrainians, and this is plant Azot that located in Severodonetsk. If we take a look at this map, this is the area with these plants, somewhere here, and we discussed that there are around 2,500 soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, that trapped there, and they don't have any possibility to escape this area. If you remember, yesterday there was some request from the Ukrainian side for evacuation. They asked the Russians to give them a safe road and possibility for civilians to leave this area. But the thing is that they were planning and were asking the Russians to allow them to do this using this bridge, not even this one or this one. But the Russians refused them, and the situation. And I read a lot of comments when you ask why do the Ukrainians can't cross the river using like their foot and to cross this river towards Lysychansk. And the answer to this question I found on this map. You see that somehow the Russians took control over this part right behind this Azot plant. You see this area I'm talking about. So if we take a look at this map, this is the territory I'm talking about. So for now, somehow the Russians are here. They are here, and now they have total fire control over everything that on the south and southeast from Azot plant. So if this information is correct and if this information is true, we can say that really there is no way for the Ukrainians to escape this area. Let's update this area with the colors just for better understanding of the situation. Now we can see that I have updated this map, and you see that the Russians control a lot in Severodonetsk agglomeration. We can say that there are just 3 islands in this area: Azot plant in Severodonetsk, Sirotina, and Borivsky. These 3 areas that is still under the Ukrainians' control. If you take a look at this map, we have some confirmation from this side: this Azot plant, this Sirotina. There are very heavy clashes in Sirotina, and the Russians are pushing. And Sirotina is very important. Sirotina has vital value for both sides, and Borovska. Why Sirotina is so important? You see that there is just one way, there's just one bridge. This bridge has a lot of damages, but this bridge still can be used for the troops, for soldiers. According to the Russian sources, of course, we haven't seen this bridge and we haven't walked across this river on this bridge, but according to the Russian sources, you can't use this bridge with heavy tanks, heavy equipment, and so on. So this is the reason why Sirotina is so important, and this is the reason why a few weeks ago the Ukrainians started their offensive operation. They, with their foreign forces, foreign legion, with the Ukrainian forces, they were trying to push the Russians from Sirotino, because I remember that a few weeks ago the Russians managed to establish control, or to took part, at least maybe over part of Sirotino, but after that they were pushed back, and this is the reason why those forces were trapped in Azot plant. So it maybe was some kind of trap for the Ukrainians. But for now, the Ukrainians are still keeping this area, and just for one reason, to save some way to this bridge. There are some forces there, but the forces in Azot plant, they can't get there anymore, because the Russians in this red zone controls everything. So there is no way. So it's like a real cauldron. The forces that locate in Sirotino still has possibility to retreat, and forces in Barivsky using this road, using this forest, also has possibility to retreat. Today we got more and more confirmation that there are around 2,000 or 2,500 soldiers, and around 20-25% of them is foreigners. So we are going to follow this situation, and so on. And so this is our first cauldron for today. Now let's move to the south, to our Gorska Zotto area. I have marked with the blue color the differences between the West sources map and the real situation according to the Russian sources, of course. So also yesterday we got some updates that the Russians took control over Vrubivka, but there were not much confirmation, just like small text messages in Telegram channels, military expert channels, that the Russians took control, but no photo, no video, nothing. And this morning we got more and more confirmation that the Russians took intact control over Vrubivka. Furthermore, somehow, so we discussed that first the Russians established control over this railway station Svetlanovka. After that they pushed towards Vrubivka, and somehow the Russians turned to the right. They had some time, some free space, and attacked Novoivanovka. About Toshkovka, Orekhova, the situation about these towns is clear to us. Of course, the West sources map and West sources don't confirm the situation that this area is under the Russians. There is just confirmation on the Russian sources map that this part of Toshkovka and Orekhova and this forest is under the Russians' control. So this is the situation, and now let's discuss the situation in Gorska Zotto in more details. First, let's update this map for better understanding, and then we will discuss. This is our current situation according to the Russian sources. There are four sectors in this area. Chihirova, this is the suburbs of Toshkovka. Gorskaya, it's a big town. Zolotoye, it's also another town. And Novoivanovka, the suburbs of Gorskaya. As you can see, I marked Novoivanovka and Chihirova in black because there are heavy clashes there. The Russians are pushing toward Chihirova from Toshkovka, and there were a lot of videos about a lot of destructions in this area, and I think that soon, like in a day or two, this entire area is going to fall. This morning the Russians announced that they established control over Vrubivka, and then they turned towards Novoivanovka and they want to take control over this town. And there are two areas that is under total Ukrainian control, Zolotoye and Gorskaya. Today we have some updates from Lugansk People Republic authorities. They informed us that there are around 2,000 soldiers. So we can say that in Azov plant around 2,500 soldiers, in Gorska Zotto 2,000 soldiers. There are around 15,000 in this entire area. So we can say that Privilye, Lysychansk, so this area Belogorovka, that not includes Severdonetsk and Gorska Zotto, there are around 11,000 soldiers. If you remember a few days ago, I told you that there are a few ways how the Ukrainians can escape this area. So let's mark them one more time for better understanding. The first way from Girska towards Lysychansk using the road P66, this one, you see this road. Another way was through Vrubivka. So this white road, so the Ukrainians could use the road that leads from Girska, Novoivanovka, Vrubovka, Mykolaievka, and then they could get to the Lysychansk oil refinery plant. So that was the second road. And the third road, if you remember, I told you that Ukrainians still have possibility to use the area between these two forests. You see this gray, these brown lines. This is the local roads with very low quality, but furthermore, these roads can be used for evacuation. So we can mark another arrow from this area. That's like the third way how the Ukrainians can escape this area. So this is the reason why Novoivanovka is very important, because as you can see, because of the fact that Vrubivka has fallen and the Russians took control over this town, this road is no longer valid. If we're talking about P66 road, you see that the Russians have some control, fire control, or maybe even physical control over this road. It's just less than 3 kilometers. Let's just calculate the exact, just 1 kilometer from the Russians' territory and this road. So I'm sure that if the Ukrainians are planning to use this road, they're gonna have maybe around 80% of losses from their soldiers. So we can say that there is just one way to escape using these local roads from Gorska. But the Russians took control over Vrubivka and they immediately started their another offensive operation towards Novoivanovka. And we can say that if Novoivanovka falls, we can call that there is a real cauldron, because the Ukrainians won't be able to use this road anymore. Maybe the offensive operation towards Novoivanovka was some part of offensive operation towards Vrubivka, like to blockade the Ukrainians, to Ukrainian forces that could come for a help towards Vrubivka. The Russians started their offensive operation towards Novoivanovka just to blockade them, and maybe after that they go back, they fall back. I don't know, but this is the information we have. And I'll repeat myself, if the Russians are able to establish control of Novoivanovka, we can say that this is a new cauldron with around 2,000 soldiers there. Situation here is very critical as well. So we have two cauldrons just in Lysychansk agglomeration. Now let's talk about Bakhmut area. This is another area, and this is another blue clouds that show us the differences between the West sources map and the information that we have from the Russian sources. Yesterday we discussed that the Russians attacked Vershina. They didn't take control over this town, but according to the Russian sources, they established control over a few buildings in this small village. If we're talking about Dolomitne, and if we take a look at the Russian sources map, you're gonna see that this town is under entire Russian control. So they have even marked this area with red, with the border. So this town is on the Russians, and from the Russian side there is no doubt about this. And this morning we got another update that Wagner's group started their offensive operation towards Semigoria. This morning there was some information that they took control over Semigoria, but later at noontime the new updates came, and according to the new update, the latest update, there are battles around Semigoria, and the Russians didn't take control over this town, but they're moving toward this area. So let's update this situation according to information we have. So this is the current situation on the front line. As you can see, the Russians took control over Dolomitne. They control this area between Vershina and Vidrodzhenie Roty. And today we had some updates that there were clashes around Semigoria, and we can say that the forces, Ukrainian forces in Ugledarskaya plant and Novoluganska is already in some type of cauldron. Of course, they still have possibility to escape this area, but according to information I have, they're not doing this. Maybe they will try to keep Semigoria, and we're gonna see this gray zone for a very long time. So we'll see, and we'll follow the situation as well. Another 3 important updates about situation in Ukraine. First one, according to information I have, by 15th of June, the Russians took control more than 816 towns, villages, big towns, small towns, and so on. So from the beginning of this special operation till today, the Russians took control over more than 816 towns. This is the first update. Another update, according to the Russian sources, some Russian sources who connected with the Russian intelligence, since the beginning of this special operation, the Ukrainians' losses is around 200,000 soldiers. And the third update I have today, that according to some Russian intelligence sources, the Russians are planning to do mobilization in the next months, in June. By the beginning of July, they're going to start mobilization. And according to information I have, they're doing this not to enforce their position or because they have a lot of losses. No, not because of that. Because few factors. First of them is the situation between China and Taiwan, that maybe entire world are going to turn to this situation, and the Russians will have possibility to finish everything with Ukraine. And the second situation, that the Russians want to complete the Ukrainian story very fast with another additional mobilization. And that's it for today. Thank you for your watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes. I'll remind you that I condemn any kind of violence, aggression in Ukraine. And have a good day. Bye bye.